Hello and welcome. Today's video is about configuring of Stonith or fencing device in Suse HAE cluster server. So I have prepared two videos already in Suse HAE cluster, which is running on Suse 12, and that is out there in my channel. If you have not watched those videos, please watch those videos to understand better. Okay, and also I have given the link in the description, so you can easily find those link and you can go ahead and watch those videos, because without those two videos it would be a little difficult to understand what I'm going to do in this video. And the first video which I prepared for Suse HAE was about the installation of initial 2 node of cluster, and the second video I showed you what is the use of Hawk and what are the features in Hawk. So today's video is about the configuration of Stonith device. So if you are not sure what is Stonith device, then I will tell you in brief. So Stonith is nothing but a disconnector. It is a term which is used in Suse HAE cluster, and it is stand for should the node in head. So this is what it stands for. So it is a mechanism for fencing which we can use, and it is basically used because of to disconnect the node when it comes to your system is hung or system is not responding. So probably it is a little difficult to understand, and for that what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you a little difference. Let me just start the service. So pacemaker start. So okay, so pacemaker is not starting because of dependency failed error. Let me just try to start this in this node. Looks like some issue here, and it is unable to start the pacemaker service, and asking me to run this command to check the log. Let me check what it is there. Insert. So there is not much information here. Let me just try to start systemctl start pacemaker. Okay, Jupyter -t pattern info HAE_SLES. Everything is installed. Let me just try to start the service. The other node, maybe the same issue here also, and it is started here. So okay, node 1 is up, node 2 is still down, and probably let me start now, and it is giving me the same thing. Let me check some of the configuration file where it could cause an issue. Here HBD, nothing is mentioned in my HBD file. And let me check the PV status. PVS -a -o plus dev_size. Okay, for some reason it is not allowing me. Let me just restart the node and let's see if that works. Okay, so for my scenario we have running two systems here, SLES01 and SLES02. So in that we are going to use a shared LAN, because when we use a cluster, it is by default we need to use a shared LAN which is going to be shared between these two nodes, and those nodes would be going to using those shared LAN which is coming from SAN or from ISKG, whatever the method you are using. So for some scenario, if your first system is not responding and it is hung, and now the same shared LAN which is also using by node 2, okay, so in that case there could be an inconsistency and that could lead to a data loss, or your the file system which you are using in cluster can corrupt. So in that situation, if you have configured a fencing device or a fencing mechanism, then what fencing will going to do, it will disconnect the node. Example, this node have issue, and what cluster will do, it will disconnect this node from the cluster and it will shoot it as per the Stonith action. So there are some options which we can specify in Stonith, whether you can reboot, whether we want to reboot the node when it does a fence, and whether we want to shut it down. So that is the main purpose of configuring fencing device in cluster environment. Right, so in Suse we have many devices available which we can use as per your environment. For VMware environment it is available, and for physical environment also there are Stonith device available. So as per the hardware you are using, you can use those Stonith device. So to see those Stonith device, there is a command which is Stonith minus capital L. If you run this command, you would be able to see the all list of Stonith devices available. Default it is installed, and it will give you all these devices when you install your packages. So let me just show you the package: zipper minus t pattern minus info and ha underscore SLES. This is my pattern where I have all these packages. So I have already installed this, and here you can see the status is I, which means install. So for Stonith there is a package install. So let me just scroll up a little bit, and let me see which is the package here. Here you can see the SPD which we can use for Stonith. That is the package, and also there would be another package for Stonith, but it is not mentioned here. Let me I believe it is under the CoroSync or the pacemaker. So I don't see the Stonith package separately. So not an issue. When we will have this HAE add-on packages, you will have this all packages, and once you install, those Stonith device will available. So you don't have to worry about the Stonith which is listing here. So it will be default going to install, and you will be able to use it. So for my video, since I'm using a VMware environment, you can see this is a VMware vSphere client where I am running two nodes here, /01 and 02, and there are two nodes which you can see here. So to do that, to configure a Stonith, I need a minimum 1 MB of disk. So that is a negligible amount of disk which can be used for SBD. So out of all this Stonith device, which I'm going to use is this one, split branch detection. So split branch detection, if you are not aware, and it is also called something like let me just do a main page for SBD, and it will say Stonith block device daemon. Okay, so in earlier it is in SUSE 11 HAE cluster it used to call split brain detection, but in SUSE 12 it says Stonith block device daemon. So this is one method which we can use, and the summary you can see here whether you can use send device, you can use ISKG or FCOE, you can use all these devices, and also how to create them, how to configure your SBD, those are the options are mentioned here. Okay, so if I scroll it down, I will be able to see for create I need to use this command sbd-d to specify the device name, and I can use more than one device, and I need to run a command called create. And also there are some flags or option which we can use when we are creating it. And to check the Stonith device, we probably can to list the information about your Stonith device, you will be able to see something like this, and you just need to run this command, you will be able to see the information. And there are many other options which is available. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the default options which is provided in this file, and I'm going to use the same. Okay, so the issue is currently I'm unable to start the pacemaker service in this system. Let me just try to start the service one more time and see whether it is giving the same issue, and there is some issue which I cannot troubleshoot now, because if I do that it will take a lot of time. Let me just remove the package and reinstall it. -t pattern info HA underscore SLES. And let me just copy all these packages. Copy and put it in some file called pkg. And let me just try to remove them. Pkg do gper rm -y looks like gper rm. I just need to specify like this, and it is uninstalling all the packages. Let me just pause the video for some time when these packages are uninstalled, and I'll come back again. Alright, so my system is up now. I just reinstalled the packages in this server SLES12, and I started the service, and if I just check, service is running on this node as well, and I can see there is one resource which is for my heartbeat data IP. So I was talking about the SBD, so those are the options which we can use. So what I have done is, like, I shared one disk which is assigned to these two nodes, both the node, and that disk size is about 200 MB. So I can show you that disk, which is currently, I can just run this command previous -o -a-o dev underscore size, and I would be able to see there is a 200 MB of this which is currently assigned to the system. And also if I just run this command on the other node, I would be able to see the same thing. So let's just check whether it can be able to see or not. It is there. So the first step is to create the SBD device. Like I showed you in the main page, we just need to run the command called SBD and specify the device, which is /dev sdv, and just need to create like this. And if you are going to use more than one device for your SBD, and we probably need to separate by like this space, and you can specify one more disk, right? So I have only one disk here, so let me just create it. So I have just created, and it says the SBD device is initiated. And to check the information about my disk, I can probably need to run this command called dump, and I would be able to see the information. That means my SBD device is installed. So when this package SBD is installed, it is come with the add-on packages, and you can be able to see this SBD package here. There will be one file automatically will create, and that file is something like this one, ll/etc disconfig SBD. So this is the file. So this is where we need to configure, or we need to specify the settings for our SBD device. I'm not sure why it is taking too much time to find this information, but it is just an package which I was querying here. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to specify those configuration. So let me go inside this file, and now you can see this is the packages which had created a default file called SBD. It's not SDB, so that was a typo there. And here you can see there are many options which we can use. The first option is mandatory, and it is important, which is about your SBD device, so that we need to specify here. And my disk is /SDB, and it is going to use by the pacemaker, which is the main service for Cluster-Part-3 HAE add-on, and I'm going to say true here. Okay, so which means yes, it is going to use by the pacemaker. And there is one more important part, whether I'm going to use the watchdog service to fence my system. So I can use this. So I will just specify my device name here as DB, and probably it needs to be in double quote. So I just need to specify in double quote, and it's all looks good. The three option which we need to specify, rest all are fine. So make sure these options are available on both the system. So let me do the same thing in bus node as well. So let me just specify the disk name here. Sorry, SLES12 HAE, and I'll just need to specify something like, and let me just put inside the double quote as true. And the next one is my watchdog. So let me specify this as well. Right, so that's it. This is the configuration with what you have to do. And initially, when we configured our Suse HAE add-on or Suse HAE cluster in Suse Linux Server 11, there was an SBD service which is built in with your OpenAIS service, right? But in SLES12 it has separated. So now it has come with a different services. It is saying SBD itself, but it is not coming with the cluster stack, which is pacemaker. So here along with this service it is not coming. So if I just do a systemctl status pacemaker, it is running, but you can able to see that SBD is not started here. So there are some sub processes, but there is nothing about SBD. To make that functional, what we have to do, we have to start the service for SBD. So if I run this command, currently it says stop, and if I just try to start it, it will not going to start and will going to throw an error. Why? Because this service needs to start before pacemaker service. So that is why it is not allowing me to start it, and this should be start on the boot time. When your system is boots up, this service should start. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enable this service so that it has start while the system is boot, SBD. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here, systemctl enable SBD. So I just enabled it, and now to make that functional I need to reboot my system, and let me just reboot both the node. Init 6 on first node, init 6 on second node. So I just initiated a reboot, and I'm not sure what happened in my node 2. I just pressed enter, but I'm unable to see anything here. My first node is coming up. Let me just press enter to make the process faster. Let me forcefully reset it from here. So one of my system, the first node, which is came up, and it given me a prompt. So let me just log in. Meanwhile, I'll be able to see my second node as well. Okay, so it's given me a prompt for user. Something is not good. My first node is rebooting again. I'm not sure why it is. Anyway, we'll find that out. Probably Stonith is rebooting the node. And it is a little slow. I'm not sure, even though I have added 2 GB on both the node, but it is pretty slow right now. Okay, so finally I just got the prompt for my base prompt, and I can see that the first node is still about to start, and that is why it says offline. And now let me see the service for my SBD, whether it is started or not. SBD, and I can see my SBD device, SBD service is running. So that means it went fine, and it should be working fine. So it is also saying the other information about my disk which I'm using, okay, and some information which is wrote in CIB. So that is cluster information base, which it's a database for Suse HAE cluster. Okay, so let me just do a crm_mon r, and let's see what is happening on the other node, whether it is able to edit. Here we can see something is happening, and the first this one going to start, and now I can see both the node are online, and this node is fine. It is coming up, and it's given me a prompt here. So now the next part is to add that SBD device which I have created. So let me just show you the device again, -t/dev sdb dump. So this is my device. So I need to add this device in the cluster so that cluster can take care, and whenever the system is not responding, it will fence the node. So to do that, again, it is easy. You just need to go to main for SBD, and you don't have to think much how to specify and other stuff, because here there is a example given in the below of this manual. Let me just scroll it down for a little more. I think it's above somewhere it has mentioned. So here for general cluster properties it has mentioned it should be true because we are going to enable the Stonith, so that is why it should be true. And you can whether you specify the Stonith timeout to 1/22, it is optional. If you do not want, that is also fine. And this is how my primitive is going to look like. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to just copy here and open a new terminal. This is my new terminal, and I'll do a CRM configure edit. So this is the best way which I feel to edit my cluster configuration. So under primitive section I will just add this, and this line somewhere needs to be here, and let me just enable the Stonith here. It says false, let me just make it as true here. That's it, done. So I just configured, and let me see whether my Stonith device is running or not. So this is my Stonith device, it is running on node 2. Basically it is running on both the node, but it is active currently on node 2. So let me just do a test, because without test we would not ensure that whether your SBD device is working or not, and if it is not functional, then what is the purpose of configuring it? So that is why to test it is very important to test it whether your SBD Stonith device is functional. So let me just do a crm_mount to just check whether same information is providing in the other node as well. So it is giving here. So what I'm going to do is from node 1 I will going to fence the node 2, and let's see whether it worked or not. So to do that, there is some command which through which we can fence the node. One command is Stonith, okay, and there is some flags. I need to check what are the flags. With that you can fence it, and I prefer to fence the node with the CRM command. So CRM node, right, and it was do a fence. I'm going to do a fence on which node? This is the node. This is the one. Let me just paste it here. CRM node fence the node them. Okay, so if I run this, and it is asking fence, this will going to shut down, but in my case it is going to reboot it. It is not going to shut it down because the Stonith action is default. If you have not specified anything, then it will be reboot. So that is why what it is going to be do. So if I just do a yes here, it should fence the other node, and I would be able to see this node reboot in some time, probably 10 seconds. Sleep for 10 seconds. Done. Before 10 only I think it is done. So you can see here the system is fenced and it is rebooted. So this fence timing also you can specify. Default it is 10 seconds. You can increase that or you can reduce it as per your requirement. So it is pretty easy. So like I showed you how to configure it, you just probably can try in your setup and let me know if you have any issues while configuring SBD. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day.